US President Joe Biden is trying to allay concerns over his age after stumbling through a TV debate this week. The 81-year-old headed to New York for a fundraiser hoping to reassure donors he's fully up to the challenge of beating Donald Trump. Thursday's showdown saw Biden stammer through answers and struggle to counter attacks and false claims from Trump. The New York Times has called for Biden to leave the presidential race. Rachel Rizzo is with the Atlantic Council think tank in Washington, D.C. I asked her how likely it is that Biden will be replaced.
Look, it's unlikely, full stop. If you've read or watched the news since the debate ended on Thursday, you mentioned the New York Times, of course, you've seen a lot of panic, flurries of headlines calling for Joe Biden to step down, saying that the ultimate act of patriotism at this point would be to step aside and let someone else take the reins. But that's not going to happen. I think we need to be clear about that. I think the best thing that Biden did was show up at a rally less than 24 hours later and say, look, I don't debate as well as I used to. I might not walk as easy as I used to, being upfront about the things that people are concerned about. But he also said, comparing himself to Donald Trump, that he knows how to tell the truth and he knows how to get the job done.
Give us a bit of background. Do you have some insights into who Biden actually listens to on things like this?
So he has, for many years, had a pretty close circle of advisors, people like former White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain, former Senator Ted Kaufman, Mike Donilon, one of his longtime advisors, a small group of White House staffers like Jake Sullivan, current National Security Advisor, and of course his wife, First Lady Jill Biden. So that's a good thing that it's a small circle of really trusted advisors, but that's also kind of difficult. It's seen as sort of a council of elders or a campaign and presidential oligarchy, as some people have called it. So while it's good for him, it's also a little bit difficult in terms of the advice that he might be getting from a very small circle of people.
At the same time, Donald Trump has staged a victory parade of types in Virginia. Have his legal problems affected him at all?
Not to the extent that many people may have expected and some people may have hoped. It's kind of difficult to look at polls and take them seriously. I mean, we're still many months, a few months, I guess I should say, away from the election in November. But his legal woes haven't really swung voters in one way or another. He has a pretty strong base of supporters. Of course, a former president being in jail or being behind bars might switch things a little bit. But I think that is unlikely to happen. That outcome, or rather, is unlikely to happen.
And beside the age of either candidate, what are the big issues that could swing this election?
So the economy is at the top of everyone's mind, and the economy is doing well. Over 15 million jobs have been added since the beginning of Biden's presidency. Unemployment is at a record low. Consumer spending is up. But unfortunately, he really hasn't been able to sell that message very well. When you look at polls and questions ask voters about how they think the economy is doing, many people say they think it is doing poor. Some people say it is even doing very poor. So that's going to be a problem, I think, for Biden. Also at the top of voters' minds are immigration, and for many down ballot races at the state level, women's reproductive rights.
Rachel Rizzo, thank you very much for the insights. Good talking to you.